We get some critique, get some opinions from the family in the chat, and actually talk about the sport of boxing. Drew Titan, Bronx on deck. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. Make sure you smash the like button on all 3 channels. Stormy B Man is a channel, all caps but no cap. The Painful Excellence Podcast and Drew Titan LLC. So y'all make sure y'all smash that like button. Let's see who's in the building. Todd Swindle, Mark Wonderland, Jimmy Bernard, Shaquilla Fields, Dirt Game Boss, Rod Neal. Tay Tay, how are you? Windsor, what's going on? Antonio MMA. Coach 67, man. Pleasure breaking bread with you, good brother. Pleasure finally meeting you, for real. Adewale M, JDM, Derek Gaines, the legend, is in the building. Showtown Majors. Bionic Prince, what's going on, man? Yeah, I'm feeling a little, on medication, pain meds, man. It's weird. They remove the bandages and they say, okay, yeah, you can wash your leg now, because I'm taking a shower, one leg out the shower, right? So now they remove the bandages. And it's really crazy when you see the stitches hanging out your knee. It's like, ew. But it's a mind thing, because then when you look at it, then it starts to hurt a little bit. I'm like, oh, man. So, it was ridiculous. Young Merv, the cut man, salute, good brother. And, it's just a thing. But, it just is what it is, man. So, I want to talk about Christian Mbilli and the landscape at 168. Universal Truth, salute. So, let's just get into it, man. Let's talk some boxing, man. The sensei is indeed in the building. Salute. What's going on, good brother?
It's good. We got something that's not boxing related, but I told you what I was gonna do.
My man. Yes, sir. That's what I'm talking about right there.
I tracked it down. So the collection is complete now.
Oh, man, that's brilliant stuff, man.
Those stories, even though that they were all from 1966, man, they were well written. It's like some of the stuff of today is not even, like that. But we could talk about that another time. I was hoping to just kind of share that with you before you went live. But yeah, I'm excited. I already watched a few episodes.
Wow, man. Well-written stuff. You know what else was well-written back then? You remember the writing in the Silver Surfer comic books? Holy crap, man. That was some good stuff. That was some good stuff. You needed at least a high school diploma to understand what
you know something, an interview, and maybe we should do a show on that. An interview with Stan Lee, he talked about that. He said that the worst that could happen is that kids would have to go to a dictionary and look up what certain words and terminology meant. And he said, and if they did that, it was not such a bad thing, and excuse me, he kind of took pride in that with his brand, that they wrote above average reading level so that their followers would immerse themselves in understanding language and understanding words and what they mean and how many variations of words that you could use. Stan Lee was a hell of a guy, man. He was a hell of a guy.
Yeah, he will be missed, man. He definitely will be missed. I'm trying to send out this email real quick. Give me 1 second. I want to talk about Christian Mbilli, the first time I heard of this brother was from you. And I said, let me see what this guy's talking about. And as far as this fella, and salute to y'all in the chat, Steve Elder Mac, NBA D Nice. And one thing I saw was that he was a hard-nosed, no-nonsense, rhino. I like to call those guys rhinos. And I respected it. Last night, because we want to talk about his report card. Last night, going into that fight, we all know what kind of fighter that Sergey Derevyanchenko is. And Derevyanchenko shows up 100% every time. And it was indeed a test. I said, this fight, we're expecting Mbilli to win, but it wouldn't have surprised me if mistakes were made and Sergey was able to capitalize and turns things around. And salute to our good brother Cano Loco in the building. Salute to you, good brother.
Man, what's good, man? What's good, Stormy, man? I was on your side over there, Stormy, trying to give you some watch hours, but you came around and sent the text out. I'm like, all right, I'll get on.
What's good, man?
Salute, man.
It's a good little topic, man, that y'all got going on with this Mbilli, though. I'm dying to get to that.
Yeah. So we just taking the plane off. So I guess we'll go around the panel. And welcome to the Strong House. I've been wanting to rock with you for a minute over here in these LDBC Strong streets. So let's get it, man. So Christian Mbilli, going into this fight, I said it was 60-40 Mbilli. I didn't write off Sergey Derevyanchenko completely because he's a dog. Sergey Derevyanchenko is an absolute dog. And even if you beat him, you've been in the fight. I respect him. He showed up, and it was a test. Now, I think at round 3, Sergey had an injured bicep. He couldn't really throw it, and you can tell.
Yeah.
Now, here's what concerned me. The good arm he was using, he was landing. And I was like, what the F, bro? Christian, I don't think Sergey had enough power to keep him honest. He was taking a lot of shots that he didn't need to take. He was defensively irresponsible in a lot of spots. I can now say that I've seen the illest low blow in my life. He hit him in the damn thigh and knocked him off balance. That was crazy. What I was impressed with Mbilli was his gas tank. It was a 10-round fight. He didn't seem out of breath. I don't like him not coming in with a jab. He would just stutter step and throw him with a wide hook. I didn't like that because things like that, it got to a point where it's like, okay, I think he's in control of the fight, but I still see discrepancies. Those wide looping shots, I just automatically envision Canelo punching in between that. And that's just being honest. The way he fought Sergey Derevyanchenko, he can't fight David Morrell or David Benavidez like that. Absolutely not. It's not going to work. Unless he has another gear. Because, sometimes fighters fight to the level of their competition. So unless he has another gear that I haven't seen, I don't know. But I don't. If I was to give him a ranking, I would give him a B-. I'll give him a B-. Because I'm really big on defense, and I didn't really see it, and I don't know whether that was just him being him or just him just saying, okay, Sergey can't hurt me, so I'm just going to throw caution to the wind. He is a fun guy to watch. He could put some fannies in the seat. It was in Canada. The people came out and showed out for him. I could respect that. But let me just, I'm going to stop right there. I want to go to Stormy. Your thoughts on Mbilli report card?
Well, I give him a hard C.
Okay.
And the C is because he was in there with a wounded guy in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
And he couldn't do any better against him when the guy's arm went out than he was doing before the injury occurred. But Mbilli, I originally had stated he's kind of like a shrunk down Ike Biabuchi when Ike Biabuchi was fighting in the heavyweight division many years ago. But then I've kind of shifted that now. He's a super middleweight pit bull Cruz. He's very one-dimensional. And last night showed it more than anything. I knew that Deverenchenko was going to give him a difficult fight because of his experience. Not necessarily just the pro experience, but his amateur experience. If you want to give guys like Alexander Usyk, Vasyl Lomachenko, and others credit for the amateur backgrounds that they have, Madrimov, you got to give it to Deverenchenko as well.
Yes.
Because he has an outstanding amateur background and has cut his teeth against the top in the division of middleweight and super middleweight, and has also been robbed of decisions, with them being fake unanimous decision losses against the likes of Triple G, close decision losses with the likes of Danny Jacobs, and then a majority decision loss to Carlos Adames, and then, of course, his loss against Jaime Munguia, in which he got dropped in that last round of their fight, and that made it easier for the judges just to give it to Munguia when he really controlled the younger guy most of that fight and had his head going like a bobble dog. I love what Deverenchenko showed us, because he showed us everything that was great about fighters from the previous era. Guys from the Bernard Hopkins, Roy Jones, those guys, Michael Nunn, that era, he showed that spice that those fighters brought to the ring, whether they were at their best, coming in with some kind of difficulty, ailments, injury, whatever.
Pure grit.
He showed and professionalism.
Yes.
Because he came out to win. When they asked him in the post-fight in the ring, why didn't he, pull it in or pack it in or whatever? He said, because I wanted to win. He said it wasn't just trying about, we see the bravery. Remember, anyone who fights for a professional living, they've already shown us that they're tough, because that's a tough way to earn a living. But the man wanted to win.
Yeah.
And he was razor thin from doing that. His amateur experience showed me that he knew how to fight with one arm.
That's right.
He was throwing certain combinations. The right hook to the body, straight right, and then the right uppercut in certain sequences, not all as a combination or pattern, but very effectively. And it was hurting and slowing Mbilli a great deal. But Mbilli, just like he stated in his fight against Carlos Gongora, he doesn't know what to do but to just fight and keep fighting. But he doesn't fight smart.
Yeah.
If there were any way that Sergey could have set some of those shots up to catch him blindly, he would have really walked him into something. And the entire time that he was doing what he was doing, I just was marveling at the fact that he's picking this man apart with one hand.
One hand, yeah.
Think about the elite fighters at the top of the sport that will go in and have all of their tools to work with.
Yeah.
A fighter who boxes Mbilli the way that Rayo boxed Pitbull will beat him easily.
Yeah.
Easily.
Mm-hmm.
And he even tried to, at the end of the fight, put an ice pack on his own shoulder and say like he was hurt or whatever. Man, if you don't get all the way the hell up out of here with that, that's not what people want to see.
Mm-hmm.
Because we had, for a fact, notification that this happened to Sergey, but when it came to Mbilli, what were the announcers saying? Oh, look at the right hands by him, and look at it. They were just celebrating him. But yet and still, he's struggling against a guy with one hand. You know, your mouth is making noise, but to my mind, it's not making sense. I just feel that hard C is what it is. Not a B minus. Mm-hmm. A hard C, because it was hard to see him finishing a guy with one arm, and who was in it to win it. Just imagine if he had just a little bit more of something else, because I felt that going in, this was going to be a fight that in the later rounds, Sergey was going to kind of take control a little bit.
Yeah,
I had picked him to win. Right. Based on something close, but of course, Kurt used to always respect, and RIP to our brother Kurt Sugar. He used to always talk about the intangibles. We saw one heck of an intangible last night, and that was the fact that this man suffered an injury. We were able to see it in real time, and it's very unfortunate. But my hat goes off to him. I hope he still gets another opportunity before the door totally closes on him. But I think that Mbilli needs to bring some people in to help him out, because he's very one-dimensional and limited at this time.
Before we go to Kano, I want to ask both of y'all. At this point, I'm glad you said that. This is the part where his camp needs to bring somebody in to give him different looks so he can understand stuff, because he's high in the rankings. And he's mentioned in the same sentence as Canelo. But right now, being he's so high in the rankings, he's a name that Canelo could say, okay, let me just get this guy on, on my resume. Do you contact Sergey Derevyanchenko and say, yo, look, come to our camp now. We're going to throw you some paper because we need to learn some things, because this guy needs some help. Do you reach out to him at that point?
No.
Why so? Why not?
He is who he is. He's too deep in his career to even make that change. He gets in the ring and punch last, he's gonna revert to what he is. Ain't no lot of right now, man. Somebody like him, man, you're so used to doing that all your career. You can ingrain it in him and train him, and he may do it in the gym, and it may look beautiful in the gym. But as soon as he gets under them lights, he gets hit with one good shot. Man, I'm going back to what I do.
I've already seen the guy that'll knock him out straight away.
Who's that?
Osleys Iglesias, who fought on the undercard last night. I give him Mbilli against him 6 to 7 rounds, and he's out of there.
So there's no teaching Mbilli new tricks. This is just who he is. He can't change.
One-dimensional. But what?
Out on me. Give me a minute, all right? It'll connect again.
Okay. What? And I know this might seem like a huge turnaround against him, but please don't take away the fact that he was in there with a wounded warrior. Dude, I'm sorry, but that says a lot. It says a lot, because your jab hand, your lead hand, that sets everything up. And Sergey couldn't set nothing up. He could only fight. But even remember, I've done shows where I talked about the jab. The jab is the one punch that you could do so many things with it. You could be offensive with it. You could be defensive with it. You could rest with it. You could time, poke, and probe with it. You could use it as a spearing type of offensive weapon. You could do it to upset the other guy's rhythm. Anytime he does something, you can stick that damn jab out there and just stop everything.
Yeah.
He wasn't able to do those things, but he was fighting like hell with one hand and trying to move away from a guy who's only at his best advantage when he's in your grill, up close, on top of you. So if he was more versatile and could box a little more, you probably would have seen Sergey have an easier time. But being a younger, 8 years his junior, stronger kid that could crowd, and his most effectiveness is being mid-range and right on top of you, it said a lot about what wasn't coming back. He was fighting a very depleted fighter, and you can't take that off the table. You have to really acknowledge that. And he wasn't able to set nothing else up himself.
Yeah.
And no jabs,
None.
walking straight in, getting hit.
Yeah.
And a couple of times I know he was shook, but he still, has that youthful enthusiasm and vigor. And there he was. But I know, Kano, your mic back now. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah. No, my earpiece disconnected. I couldn't hear nothing, but now it's back, man. Let me give you my report card. He gave him a hard C. I'm giving him a C-. And now I know Stormy done emptied the clip on it, so it's hard to go last. But I've been following Mbilli for about 4.5 to 5 years. And I was really, really high on him. But I want people to understand that as time goes, you assess these fighters on their journey up. And I was expecting a lot more development out of here at him going into a fight like that I did not see. I see him the same person he was 4.5 to 5 years ago. And to go in there against a 38-year-old with one hand, not be able to. I don't think he hurt him, Stormy. I just think he caught him off balance most of the time. In my opinion, I don't think Nemchenko was hurt maybe once. Most of the time, he was off balance and stumbled and stuff. And he just happened to bump, So that was a bad look, man. And look, I hate to do fighters like that. I always want to see what they do in the next fight, man. But when you go in there and do that against Nemchenko, who, yes, he's got the experience. Yes, he's a good fighter and all that, but 38 years old, slower than what he normally was, and with one arm, and you couldn't do shit with him. He was getting hit with shots that you should have been hitting him with. That was all available for Mbilli to throw as well. He just wouldn't throw it. Does he not have vision inside the ring, or that's why I say I don't think it's going to help bringing in nobody. He can't see the ring. He can't see it because when the openings was there, he couldn't shoot a shot.
And that was
when I said I saw him hurt a couple of times, I was talking about Mbilli being hurt a couple of times.
Oh, yeah.
Because the right hand to the body on Mbilli's left side, a couple of times he took those shots. He was like, it doubled him over a little bit, which is why he was able to double it up and come with that, and then the hook up top. But what was missing was being able to bring everything back with a left hook or stick that jab out, and he wasn't able to do those things because the left hand was dead. But I mean, Mbilli was lucky. If anything, he was fortunate that this man got hurt like that, because I think he would have been in more trouble than even Jaime Munguia had the man's arm not gone out.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I gave him a B-, because I respect Derevyanchenko that much. And I would be interested to see what would have happened had he not hurt his bicep. But as the fight went on, there were opportunities there. It's like both you guys said, there was opportunities there.
Time out, Drew, bro. You can't give him no B, bro. Get off.
I said B-. And
you nice here, bro.
That was with respect to Derevyanchenko. That was because he was in there with him.
Let me say this. You got two coaches on here now that you ain't listening to. F+, get to the back of the class because you're not listening. We're trying to tell you. We're trying to tell him, Kano, right? We're leading the man to the water, but he's gonna be like a horse, a stubborn mule, and not drink.
I ain't backstage. Y'all go ahead and cook.
See a beat nowhere on that board, bro. You know what I'm saying? The crew being too nice. I get it. You don't want to shit on a fighter, man, but bro, a one-armed individual, man? No, bro. No. You brought up something very interesting, Stormy. You mentioned the name Iglesias, who coincidentally, I do believe, knocks Mbilli out.
That's what I said.
I believe he knocks Mbilli out. And for those who have not been really paying attention, man, to me, Stormy, you may disagree, but based on what I'm seeing from Morrell lately, Iglesias is a better fighter than Morrell.
Well, you know, that's what I wrote in your live stream earlier when I said, man, we need to have a conversation behind the scenes about this kid, because it's obvious that I've missed him. I know I've seen him before, but I haven't been, dialed in like that. And I looked at how he handled the situation last night with Sina, and Sina is not the most confident guy in the world or whatever, but it was the way he went after him. It was different than the way David did. And he showed me something that David should have shown even in that fight that he just had, in the fight that he just fought a few weeks ago. I'm seeing something totally different in this kid. And sometimes when, and Kano, you know what I'm getting ready to say when I say this, that you can look at certain fighters and tell when something is really there, and sometimes it needs to be cultivated or brought along. It don't need to be cultivated with this guy. It don't. And what you said in your live earlier about Morrell might have went on up to 175 because he don't want to fight this guy, you may be on to something, because I'm telling you, man, and fighters know, man. When they see people and they be like, I don't think I want that smoke. Yeah.
They go further, Stormy. This guy smoked Morrell in the amateurs. Morrell knows good and motherfucking well who Iglesias is.
See, this is what we always talk about. We may not know, but the people in the loop, they know. They know exactly who it is. Like how everyone knew who Benavidez was for the last 7 to 8 years. They know exactly who he was. So, yeah, you might be on to something there. Let me get to the suit. Oh, that's my brother Aaron Brooks in that super chat. Much love. He says, showing love, my brother. God, good blessings, man. Salute to you, brother. Much love and appreciation. That's my Florida brother right there.
Florida.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Man, dress up, man. I saw somebody in the chat say, I don't know who, but they said that Mbilli was never hurt that fight. You might put your glasses on and go watch the fight again, because I saw multiple times when Mbilli was like, shit.
You know something, Kano, what I chalk that up to? And this is no disrespect to anybody, but it's a fact. Most people that watch boxing don't know what they be looking at. Mm-hmm. They don't. It's a fighter's duty to not show he's not hurt. You know what I mean? It's his duty. You got a responsibility, because the first moment you show some kind of resignation or weakness, then the other guy is capitalizing on you straight and dead away. But with the trained eye, you know what you're looking at. When a guy gets hit a certain shot, he takes a breath, he takes a step around, he kind of takes a step back, he'll go in for a clinch unnecessarily.
Yeah.
So many different things to look at. And I'm telling you, there are moments where guys do this, and you are watching the action and the play, and you see the ref break them and stuff, and you like, oh, he clinched. Is it not? but he clinched for a reason.
Uh-huh.
You understand? And there's, and like I said, that's no disrespect, but it's like you do have to know what you're looking at. I was backstage with the family last night watching the fight, and I was telling them, I was like, you see this dude clinching unnecessarily? I said, you see what's going. I said, I wouldn't be surprised if he ran out of gas if Derevyanchenko could keep up pounding him to the body with those rights and everything. But of course he couldn't, because he got labored too, because he was putting a lot into that, then also trying to move away and get reset for it. It's hard to do when you operating in your lead hand. It's like that's supposed to stop stuff coming in and everything, and it's down because you can't even hardly hold it. If anybody who suffered a torn bicep, you have to know that arm is no good during the fight. It's really no good. And he still kept himself from getting knocked out. And he still used it a little bit here and there, very sparingly. But you don't know what kind of trauma that man was going through with that type of injury.
Let me say this. It concerned me because he did have a wounded animal in front of him. And it concerned me that he couldn't finish him. And when he was trying to smash the gas on him, it was 2 points that I'm remembering where he was trying to smash the gas on Derevyanchenko, where he ran into something. And one of them was the body shot. He ran into something, and I said, damn. You know what I mean?
You taking that beat back?
Huh? Am I taking, you know what? Yeah, I am. I got to. I was giving him a B- because it was Derevyanchenko. But then when you think about it, if Derevyanchenko didn't hurt his bicep, it might have been a closer fight because Derevyanchenko's a dog. So now when you're watching the fight, because you know, once a fighter's in control, and it's boxing, anything can happen, I automatically started comparing him to the upper echelon in the division. And I'm like, he's not beating David Morrell or Benavidez or Canelo like this. He's not doing it. He has enough to be on here like a cheap suit. Maybe at this point, Canelo in his career, because he's old in dog years, maybe he couldn't handle a James Kirkland style right now, just being all over you like a cheap suit. Like, yo, man, get off me, man. I'm too old for this crap. But, you know, maybe young legs and youth will get him through that fight. But young legs and youth, that runs out. And I didn't see a high boxing IQ.
Well, one thing guys like he and Pitbull Cruz bank on, they bank on you going to sleep at some point during the scheduled 10 to 12 rounds.
Yeah.
They that's their thing. They know, like, at some point I just got to be ready for him to make his mistake or whatever. But just like what Pitbull ran into with Rayo, and I like to use that fight as an example because it's a perfect example. Rayo was sharp from bell to bell for all 3 minutes of all 12 rounds, which is why that fight was not a split decision. It was a unanimous decision for him because he was awake on Pitbull, never let him be who he only is. And he took that away from him. You take that away from a guy that's single dimension like that, and they don't have a chance. If someone's going to face this guy, they take all that aggression and stuff away, it's going to be the same thing. And guess what? A good fighter can catch him with something coming in, because that's all he know how to do is come in. And he doesn't even come in the proper way. He doesn't knock at the door with the jab. He just walks in.
At all.
If somebody come walking in your house, what's going to happen to him?
Shot.
So Kano, you've been watching Mbilli a lot longer than I have. He hasn't changed. He hasn't progressed at all.
No. I was hoping he would, because I thought he was gonna be. I thought he was gonna be it. I ain't gonna lie, Stormy. I thought he was gonna be it, but as time went by, I'm like, I'm not seeing no change. I'm not seeing no change. And people were, hooping and hollering because he was getting away with that shit.
Yeah.
Now, you're not. What I'm trying to say is, he's not a championship fighter. Championship level, it's not gonna work. It's just not gonna work. And this is why I say you can't bring nobody in. He's already used to. He's programmed already.
You know what would have been interesting, Kano, and they weren't gonna do this, but if he had started that fight out working behind a jab, moving around a little bit on Derevyanchenko, giving him a total different look than what he's done in the past, then we could say, oh, you know what? It was good, because that's the opportunity to do something like that against the aging fighter who is not going to expend his gas tank unnecessarily. So you could set some things up and then go after him later. This is why the old fighters used to say things like, take them out to sea and drown them. Because youthful fighters, they want to show you what they got right away. The veterans set little traps for you. Here, nibble on this. Take a bite of that. Look out for this. And then late in the fight, boom, it's over. And you wonder what happened. And it happens because they got comfortable. They think they belong. They think, oh, this is a cakewalk. But that veteran always supposed to have something in reserve for you.
Is this and I hate to say this, man, I really do, because I want Christian and Mbilli to succeed, but based off of what Kano's saying and the performance last night, is this shades of Jeff Lacy. Big, strong kid with youthful legs, but eventually it's only a matter of time before he runs into that person that'll, Joe Calzaghe him, that'll box his face in angles and stuff. And then he's throwing punches, he's off balance and stuff. Every punch he threw was with bad intentions, man. And it reminded me of Jeff Lacy. Is that what we're looking at?
I don't think he's even as good as Jeff Lacy.
Wow. At least Jeff had a jab, didn't he? That's what I'm saying. I was like, is he fighting down that level of his competition? But even though, still.
Look at it like this, brother. And there's nothing wrong with being who you are, but there's something wrong with knowing that you have to do better in order to be better. See, that's the thing. He is an action. He's an action fighter. He's what they call a fan favorite. He's gonna give you that.
Yeah.
But fighters like that burn out fast.
Yeah, man.
Because of what they end up having to take. Now, there was somebody, like you said in the chat earlier, said, Mbilli wasn't hurt. It's not his job to show you that he's hurt. But we know what hurts fighters. Punch placement hurts fighters more than anything. A couple of fire shots right under the heart, it'll make you boo-boo on yourself. I'm serious. Kano, am I telling the truth?
Are you telling the truth?
Yeah. So fighters who know this, fighters who are adept, they want Mbilli. They want him, because knocking out a guy like that is gonna raise their stock. But remember, we're in an age where there's not a lot of guys who want to be competitive like that. That paradigm is starting to shift a little now with some of the younger fighters coming along, or some of the unknowns getting these opportunities. But it has to be someone that knows these things of which I speak. Because look, the old veteran fighters would tell you this from the recently past era. They'll tell you a guy like Mbilli, they love a guy like that because he's just gonna run into something. Yeah. I'm gonna run him into something 8 days out of a 7-day week, because you can set your clock to it. There's no mystery there.
Yeah, I didn't see any I didn't see any different.
Don't be surprised they put a soft touch for him next.
Because I ain't look at the rankings, but of course they're gonna do that. They want to keep him busy, and like I said, they came out and they love him up in Canada, and
Hey, don't get me a fighter. Don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of flaws for me to consider him a championship fighter. That's all.
Yeah, but if he hasn't changed, then this just is what it is. if he hasn't progressed, like I said, you've been watching him longer than I have. But if he hasn't progressed, I mean, my gosh, if this is it, this is not good. It's not good. I didn't see no jabs. And how many? I didn't check the CompuBox. How many jabs did he even throw? Probably like 5, and I missed them all. I don't like that, man. And salute the main event, Mark. He said, "What were the top fights from that card to watch?" I did catch the Abdullah Mason bout. And the heavyweight.
There's always somebody trying to bait me, man. It ain't gonna work, bro. Look, I don't give a fuck if Mbilli can knock Berlanga or not. You ain't hurt my feelings with that, bro. Not at all, man. I don't care. I'm not the one in there getting hit. Stay somewhere else.
Jay says Mbilli destroys Berlanga, though. I mean, that'll be a firefight. I mean, it won't go to the cards. I know that. But watch this. Berlanga will find his jab and box him.
You know what's funny? He ain't gonna walk into him. He go through his head.
I agree. I agree. I mean, and I like Mbilli. He's high action, but this fight yesterday, because I had him in the same sentence as as Canelo and Benavidez and Morel. I had him in the same sentence. Last night, I can't. I just can't. I can't do it.
Let me say something about Jay's comment about Mbilli destroying Berlanga. The one thing that Berlanga can do that Mbilli can't do is box.
Yeah.
Berlanga could take everything that Mbilli does incorrectly and use it against him. And see, that's the thing about having versatility. Cano Loco can tell you about that with him now being with his old trainer and reunited with that who has reminded him to box. You see, because he's strong and he can punch, but that's not the game at the top level of the sport. You're supposed to be about being able to be technically proficient, have good defense to keep yourself safe and everything, and to pick your shots. Punch in combination when you do use your offense. But again, a guy like Mbilli, do you remember that one time he threw a punch and kind of spinned around? It's like,
yeah, man.
Those kind of things, man. There are fighters out here who love to see. They be like, man, wait till he do it against me, and I'm gonna have something waiting for him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I don't see that fight ever happening, though, man, because I think they're going to baby Mbilli this next fight, man, and they're not going to put him in harm's way for a little bit, man. And
so how do they fix it? How do they fix it? If you can, how do they fix it? Because now, if they start playing matchmaker, it's good for sales in Canada, but how do they fix it? Because the goal is...
To be perfectly honest with you, Drew, a lot of the coaches and trainers don't know how to fix. They don't. This is why guys can come out so incomplete. You hear me talk about it almost every freaking show. It's like I talk about these trainers, man, that are not adept. And it's not about putting someone down, but it's about you. They're not showing you that they are teachers, because that's part of it. Being in somebody's ear, go out there and hit him with the jab. Go out there and hit him, throw the right uppercut. That's one thing. But the teacher guy. I put something on the group chat. I don't know if you saw it, but it's a clip from a movie, the Joe Louis story. And what's really interesting is this. There's a guy playing Jack Blackburn and there's a guy playing Joe Louis, but they use real Joe Louis fight footage in the movie, the Joe Louis story.
Right.
He's teaching Joe how to slip the jab and to go down under that jab, to slip it, go underneath it, let it go over your shoulder. Then as Joe is standing up and he's teaching him how to watch for the left hook by keeping his right hand by his chin. Now, the left hook is coming. It's like you can knock that left hook down and throw your own or come up right up under it. But these are techniques that these trainers of today don't teach that stuff. And if you watch film of Joe Louis, or you watch film of Ezra Charles and Archie Moore and those guys from those era, they all fought like that. Because the teaching was, that's why the fights were so classic. Because these men had skill set. Yeah, there were power punchers, but some of them were so efficient. Joe Louis could knock you out with a 6-inch punch. When you look at guys throwing right hands today, they winding up before they throw a right hand. They don't know how to throw a right hand from the shoulder where they turn and get their waist and their pivot foot into the shot.
Yo, listen, let me tell you the most poetic thing that I've seen in a while, and y'all all seen this. Professor X, and that super chat, salute to you, good brother. I appreciate you. And Jonathan Simon, that'd be a good fight. He says, I don't believe that Mbilli could beat Janibek at 160. That'd be a good fight. I'd like to see it. But do you remember when Andre Ward fought Sullivan Barrera? And Sullivan threw a left hand, and Andre with his glove right here slapped it down
and
hit him with it was like a 2-inch punch, and Sullivan ran into it. I rewind that clip. So you want to talk about poetry? How many fighters do things like that today?
But look at the success that Ward had in his career. Last fight he lost was when he was a kid, a teenager or something in the amateurs. But I'm going to tell you something about that. Just like Charlo against Rosario, remember what he did when he slipped that shot and came back with the uppercut?
Uppercut.
That's something that he learned from Ronnie Shields. You see, these are the type of techniques and everything. You could see Abdullah Mason working on stuff in the locker room with his dad and his brothers. And they working on certain combinations and things like that because it becomes muscle memory when you're doing these things. They're not hitting those pads like rhythmic and all of that to make it look cool and exciting. They're actually working on punch combinations for punch placement because they knew they're going in there against Ohan Jr. that he was going to be open sometimes when they could, be in position to throw the certain shots. That uppercut that he knocked him down with was so clean, well-timed, the Ohan didn't even see the shot. He just got hit with it and went down. That's teaching, bro. There's not enough of the good teaching out there right now.
Can I ask you something, Stormy? I want to ask Stormy something, man, because I had the volume up on the Jalil Hackett fight, right? I didn't like the instructions coming from his dad, man. Is it just me tripping, or did you hear that as well? And it just seemed like he gave some half instructions during that fight. Do you recall?
You talking about the Jahai Tucker?
Yeah.
Because you said Jalil Tack. Okay.
Jahai
Tucker. Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you something. They were talking about him like he was doing some great things, but he's very front foot heavy. And that's a bad thing, Kano. You know that's a bad thing. When you're front foot heavy, all the guy gotta do is lead you, okay? And set you up for some stuff. You know who was good at getting people that were front foot heavy, even though he was front foot heavy himself? Terry Norris. He used to catch people all the time with that kind of stuff. But yeah, I didn't like the instructions coming from him either. I didn't like it. And
I thought I was tripping, but okay.
No, not at all. And I've said this, in conversation with you before. You got a coach's background. I have a coach's background. We see a lot of the same stuff, man. Even if we articulate it differently or whatever, there's not a lot to be off page with that kind of stuff because we're looking at what we're supposed to be looking at. We don't look at boxing like boxing fans, like boxing supporters. We're looking at it like, if that was my guy in there, this is what I would want him to be doing. This is what he needs to do. This is how I would like him to execute. That's different. That's one of the reasons why I don't sit up and do blow-by-blow commentary. I could do commentary on fights, but I'm too busy watching other stuff.
Yeah.
And then when I come back and do post fights and stuff like that, or a show like this where I'm talking about and I'm being heavily critical on somebody, people get mad at me. But look at my track record. My track record is speaking 100% consistently about what you should be looking at, what the fighters and their trainers should be focused on. And you see a lot of failure out there. A lot of failure.
The reason I mentioned it is because I think he's young enough to where he can switch his style and have somebody else step in. And I'm not saying his father can't be in there, but he needs an additional set of eyes to work with his son, in my opinion, because he was more of a cheerleader in that corner than he was a trainer. Me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let me ask y'all a question. It's very important. So, if you're in this camp, and this is another thing I'm noticing in a lot of these camps, they have horrible people watching the rankings and matchmaking their opponents. They just living and breathing off of the hype and throwing their guys in there with everybody. Hashtag Jared Anderson, because they were supposed to know. And you had Sugar Hill in your camp. You're supposed to know who Martin Bacoli was, but whatever. If you're moving Christian Mbilli right now, what do you do? He's ranked number 1 in the WBC. And I'm looking around, I see William Skull, I see Iglesias, what's this guy's name? Vladimir Shishkin, Diego Pacheco, Belenga's tied up.
They better not put him in there with Diego Pacheco either. I'm telling you that right now.
That's a problem.
Diego Pacheco is going to be a problem for almost any fighter in that division.
You know what I would do, Stormy? I mean, Drew.
Yeah.
I'd give him easy fights until I can cash that motherfucker out, because he ain't changing.
Wow.
I'll cash him out when we can get the big fight. That's all you can do with somebody like that. It's not cold-blooded. It just is what it is. You know he's not going to be a championship fighter. Let me get him some easy touches. Keep him undefeated. Open that avenue for that big money fight and cash out. That's all you can do. But at least the man to be set for life.
I hear you, man. That's crazy. But sidebar, I saw the brother 88 Sports Talk and Young Abel's in there. When y'all say front foot heavy, I thought of this too. Front foot like Felix Trinidad.
Front that's why he got knocked down a lot.
Yeah, he did. He got knocked down a lot.
And leaves his left hand a little low too, for my liking. But that's another story, man. I'm nitpicking now.
Yeah. So 3 fights. If you were to pick Mbilli's next 3 fights going into the spring of late spring of 2025, what would you do? I know y'all ain't got the rankings in front of you, but everything looked dangerous at this point. Cause I damn.
Well, you think about it like this too. There's a reason why he's fighting primarily in Canada.
Yeah.
When you got a good fighter, you can take him on the road, bro. And one of the best things you could do with a good fighter is take him out of the country. When he we got fighters here in the U.S. Take them out, take them over to Australia, take them to Japan, take them to somewhere so that they can get that feeling of what it's like to be not comfortable. That's important. Am I right, Kano?
You're right.
It's very important. Guys fighting in their hometown all the time. Shakur Stevenson always looking to be, that familiar fish in the water. Oh, that's a guppy. It's time to move around. And I know, Kano, I know you like Shakur, but Shakur is a good fighter. He's too good to just be fighting, in that type of place. He should travel. He should go somewhere else. Because even if you listen to people who talk about the sport of boxing from different parts of the world, the UK, Ireland, stuff like that, they give him his props. Mm-hmm. I just heard on a show earlier today where they spoke of him as possibly being the best fighter in boxing. Well, he should travel. Go in another country and fight a couple of fights and beat up a couple of their guys and take some fans back home with you. It happens. Devin Haney is popular in Australia now because he fought Kambosos over there.
Twice. Yeah. Once to win, once to defend. So,
True. When you match them up, you're going to have to match them up with somebody that doesn't have high ring IQ in box.
well, who is that? Because I'm looking at the
They can
top
try to-
four.
They can try to tantalize a couple of veterans, you know, that may be near retirement or semi-retired, and you know who used to be a contender, used to have a name, that kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Demetrius Andrade is still down there in the rankings in the WBC.
No. He could box.
Yeah.
Box.
I mean,
As bad as he look against Benavidez, I think he outboxes Mbilli. I'm sorry, man. Fuck. He just proved that to him. All right.
yeah, I mean, yeah, you know, that's a bad, I mean, but you know what? That's another name on, that's a gamble though. This Boo can, he can move his feet. That's a gamble. I would have liked,
punch.
yeah, I would have liked the Berlanga fight, but he's tied up. And this is how it all ties in to 160, because you know the other part of the live is what's expected of Canelo. So after Berlanga, you know, and I know the popular pick is Canelo. First and foremost, I'm rooting for Berlanga. That's number one. I'm rooting for Berlanga, number one. And number two, there's always that weird chance. There's always that weird chance. Berlanga, whoa, God damn, you hear all that lightning?
Yeah.
Lightning thunder is right outside my window. That's crazy.
Dude, I almost picked my gun up.
Yeah, Thor's outside. He's pissed off. Phase 4 fucked us up. But does if Canelo gets past Berlanga, I see him, like you said, cash him out. If that opportunity presents itself, and you're in charge of Mbilli, do you say, hell, we got to get this?
Yep.
Better you lose to Canelo than lose to Morel or Benavidez. We got to go get that. You take that fight?
I say yes.
Wow, Stormy, you do
Not
that?
nothing else with him, man. I just don't see nothing else you can do. Cash him out, man.
Wow.
Yeah, but I'm on what Kano said earlier about it. His next opponent is going to be a soft touch. That's definitely going to be the case for two reasons. One, they don't want to lose the position that they're in to get the title shot, and two, they need to do something to kind of keep his confidence a little up, because if you ask me, when that fight was over, he kind of looked like his will was busted a little bit.
Yep.
He did. I'm telling you, I know what I'm looking at, and it's obvious that Kano sees it as well. Even when they were interviewing Devinchenko and they were showing him, and he was kind of looking like he had that sick puppy look. He did, man. It happens.
Had that been a 12-rounder and no arm messed up.
Yeah, man. That's what I kept thinking. If that was 12 rounds and his bicep wasn't messed up, it might have looked a little different.
Hey, man, I got to get this off, man. I got to get this off now that I'm on your platform so more ears can hear this, okay? Because I know a lot of people know that I'm leaning towards Berlanga. And Stormy noticed because we had a talk behind the scenes and stuff like that. I'm betting on his trainer is what I'm betting on.
Oh, yeah?
I'm betting on his trainer. That's the bottom line. I'm betting on his trainer, Mark Ferret. That's what I'm betting
So,
on.
elaborate on that. Explain that.
He's had him this will be the third camp with him, man. And all I've seen was him improve Berlanga the last couple of fights. So going into this third camp with him, I like what he's done with him, man. He's a no-nonsense trainer. He's the type of person that's got, you know, when he tells Berlanga stuff, man, Berlanga's responding with yes, sir, you know what I'm saying? With total respect, absorbing everything he's doing. He's one of those people that I'm gonna try not to say too much, man, because I mean, you know, he's been down here in Tampa training in the gyms and stuff like that. But he'll get on him. Do it again. Do it again. No. Do it again. Do it again. And he won't. He ain't leaving out of there until he does it right.
So you're banking on the coaching. That's very interesting, because you know what people like to do on social media. What they like to do is they start showing the bad parts. Oh, Berlanga did this 3 years ago. If he does it against Canelo, this is what's going to happen. But I've seen some improvement from Berlanga. I mean, granted, you know, the biting on the neck, when he turned into Berlangula, that was hilarious. Threw his whole person to trash. But since then, I've watched him. He's more calm. He's more patient. I saw him fix some things, and I'm going to agree with you, especially since you know, I'll take you at your word. The corner is going to be everything, and I know Stormy, you know, and you're very adamant about corner work. People don't understand how important that is, man. That's very, 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 very important, man. Corner work is very important.
That's like his former trainer used to be the guy that was training Derenchenko last night.
And Andre Rozier.
Rozier, yeah. Now, I'm not a fan of Rozier at all, but Rozier didn't pull that performance out of Derenchenko. That was Derenchenko. That was him, the fighter that he is and the man that he is. Right now, Rozier is kind of like just piggybacking off of that, just like any success that Tyson Fury may have had. Sugar Hill was piggybacking off of that. You know what I'm saying? There are certain times when coaches and trainers get in that kind of position where they can kind of ride that. But where you see is when they have to coach through difficulty, be tactical, have a game plan formatted. Kano has been saying that Berlanga was going to get this opportunity. It came a little bit sooner than people may have thought.
You've been saying that for like 2 years.
Well, but that doesn't mean 2 years ago he was ready for it.
Correct.
But the thing about it is, with a coach who can prepare you, I don't know if Kano might know the name of this coach. What's the name of the coach that Oscar De La Hoya went with, Kano, when after he got rid of his first coach from the amateurs? He went with that old guy that's like a guru. He's kind of like a Custody model. I can't think of his name right now. But he's an older guy, and he had Oscar boxing a little bit different than you had ever seen him before. And Oscar ended up leaving him, and then later got with Floyd Sr. But he shouldn't have never left that guru. But I think that Oscar's people didn't like him.
Oh, wait a minute. That's
It's not Nacho Beristain.
No, it's not Nacho.
Riddick Bowe did the same thing.
What was that?
Riddick Bowe did a similar mistake.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is that trainer, the way he had Oscar fighting, Oscar was damn near. It was like he was at the best. Yeah, Rivero. Yeah, is that what is his name? No, Alcazar was Oscar's first trainer, and worked with him while he was amateur too. But Rivera. But anyway, long story short, that man was very good. He knew how to break down fighters. Jesus Rivero, there you go. That old guy knew boxing. And people called him loony. You know, they said he was a little goofy or crazy or whatever. They always call us good coaches and trainers goofy and everything. That's because we set a precedent for fighters they need to conform to in order to have the psychological be able to match up with their physical. A lot of people don't understand that. There has to be a marriage between the two. There can't be a separation. You can't be a smart guy but do dumb shit. You understand? You can't. It doesn't make sense. Am I right? It's like it doesn't make sense. So again, with Berlanga and this coach, if he's able to listen to his coach and do exactly what he's telling him and everything, Canelo could be in trouble. Because that coach knows what Canelo's shortcomings are. He knows what Canelo likes to do and likes to get away with, and those spells in the fight where he likes to rest and all of that kind of stuff. It's very obvious to people like us. But it's like people get caught up in, it's Canelo. Man, the hell with that?
Right. Now, Drew, to be honest with you, and I told Stormy this too, man, about a couple of weeks ago. I said, look, I honestly would have liked him to fight one more fight before he went in there with Canelo. I wanted a third training camp before he went into a fourth one going into the Canelo fight. Because I felt I wanted that extra time for him. I wanted that extra time for Mark to work with him. But the fight was presented to him, and they said, fuck it, we gonna work with this time frame then, you know? We're gonna have to make it work somehow in this shorter time frame. And I'm still betting on him, man. Like, hey, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I got a lot of trust in Mark, man. It's up to Berlanga to execute what Mark puts in him. Pause. You know what I'm saying?
And one last thing about Jesus Rivera. I watched the documentary that Oscar De La Hoya had on, what was that, HBO or something? He had some kind of documentary. And in a moment of sobriety, he said himself that he wished he never left Jesus Rivera. That speaks volumes. It speaks volumes, because if you asked him straight up, Mike Tyson would probably tell you he wish he never. He would tell you he wish he never left Kevin Rooney.
Yeah. What's the likelihood that what's the likelihood that we see an upset in September between Berlanga and Canelo? What's the likelihood?
I'm gonna say 50-50, man. I know that's gonna sound crazy to people, but 50-50. I'm actually gonna place money on him. Fuck it.
My thoughts are, I don't have it as high as Cano, or maybe more like 60-40. And the reason I say that is because I'm looking at it from intangible standpoint. Canelo running around here trying to pick guys to fight and not fight who he should be fighting and everything. And eventually you're going to pick wrong. He already did it once a couple fights ago with Dimitri Bivol. And Bivol tapped that ass. No pause. And the thing is, he gave it to him like he was supposed to. You understand? I took one of those clips and put it on my channel, and I play it from time to time, where Bivol is just opening up on his ass against the ropes, and he's just trying to get out of the way, and he's taking some. I do that because this is the real deal right here. Somebody that's not afraid of you, somebody that knows how to keep their distance, somebody know how to put their hands on you and do what they're supposed to do. If you notice, he never revisited that man. He never talked to him. If you asked him about him, he pretended like Dimitri Bivol didn't even exist. But he went and picked him. He reached his hand in that barrel, and pulled that man's cherry out of there. And he's like, him. And it ain't been the same for him since. He's had so many soft touches. They should call him Ubisoft. Yeah, because that's what he's been. And people out there that like Canelo, they can get mad all they want to or whatever, but these are the facts. He's out there trying to make it easy. People talking about, oh, he's earned the right to fight who he wants. No, he ain't. He got championship belts in his possession, and there's fighters lined up for their opportunity to become a world champion, and he should be fighting these guys. If he don't want to fight for the belts, give it up. and continue to pick who you want to fight. But those other men deserve an equal opportunity for a chance to change their lives and their careers by winning world championships. He shouldn't be able to just sit with them all up under his arms like this, like he's the baddest man in the world, and we know he ain't. Stop it with the foolishness, man. Please.
Well, I'm gonna let Conor cook because I know the brother got a roll. So we got a C- with Mbilli. So I guess you pretty much brought it home with what's expected from Canelo. In the event Canelo loses to Berlanga, what does he do next?
Well, shit, he gonna have to hear my mouth for about a month straight. Cause I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, I'll be like cherry pick gone wrong. I've been trying to tell y'all cherry pick gone wrong. I mean, shit. Would you rather see Canelo fight the Yildirims of the world and that UK bum bash he went on, or Berlanga? I'm just saying, bro.
Yeah, because we know what he's not doing. He's not doing. So, why not Berlanga? And, just off a general principle, I hope Berlanga, he got size. He got natural.
When was the last big Puerto Rican Mexican fight matchup? When was the last one that you could think of? Big name.
Oh, man. Cotto Margarito for me.
I think that was the last big one.
Okay.
The second one, the second one.
Yeah, the second one, yeah. Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you something, man. It's going to get hot in there because that pride going to get on the line. You know what I mean? But the man who could be more versatile should win the fight. And like Kurt used to say about those intangibles, if I look at it face up, the man who has the opportunity to be more versatile is Berlanga.
Yeah,
we know that he can punch. He can get in there and get in the blender with the guy. But what if he steps on the outside and starts controlling the distance?
He got better feet.
He
got better feet.
Hey, boy, you got a unique chat, I swear, bro. Hey, Cotto, that was not the last one, man. I mean, that wasn't to happen that way. You know the disadvantages going into that fight. That wasn't even,
Shakur versus Valdez.
That's Shakur versus Valdez. That's a pretty good one.
Okay, all right. Shakur, okay.
Yeah, man. Nah, man, the Cotto wasn't even, man. That's when Canelo was putting all the clauses and all these stipulations and shit, man, like he did with all the other names that. Come on, man. I don't even count. Yeah, it counts on the record, but I mean, I don't count it as big for me. You know what I mean, man? Bro. Yeah, I got to get up out of here, man. But hey, I got Berlanga, man. I don't give a fuck what none of y'all say, bro.
There it is.
Hey, and
my brother.
No. By the way, just so y'all know, I'm not picking him because of the flag either. All right? Because me and him do not get along. Just so y'all know. Let me give y'all. Me and him do not get along. If we see each other, we might kill each other. So, I said I'm betting on the coach, man, and it is what it is, man. Hey, man. Salute to the mighty LDBC Story. Drew, appreciate y'all letting me on here, man.
No doubt, good brother. Anytime.
Have a good one, bro. Good talking with you.
Oh, hey, 903 Boston in the building, man. Salute to that brother, man. That's my homie.
That's the homie?
Yes, sir.
All right, let me Doc. I'll wrench him up off a general principle. I'll take care of him. All right, good brother. Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Conor Loco in the building.
I had to kill this spider that was trying to come up on me.
He's on. Oh, that brother's on my other channel. Let me I'll wrench him. 903. If you go to Drew Titan LLC, step over there. I'll wrench you up over there too. You're on my other channel. So if you go to Drew Titan LLC, I'll wrench you up over there too. Just off the strength of my brother Conor. Lou. Oh yeah, somebody put Conor's a link to his new channel in the chat, please. Yeah, so the trainers is going to make a difference. Now watch this. Here we are. There you go. Oh yeah, Aaron. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, because Aaron Brooks, this is my brother Aaron. He's a Kodo fan. Hard body karate. He's a Kodo fan. Yeah, hell yeah. So yeah, he's been a Kodo fan for real. And salute to Miguel Cotto, man. He's a Hall of Famer, man.
Oh yeah. Cotto was one of those fighters that I looked at like I look at Deverenchenko. He was a warrior, man.
Yeah.
And he kept beating guys. You know, and that's when this is how you know if you guys, if say it's you got a favorite fighter and your fighter is out there and he's got guys to face, and there's this one guy that's coming up and coming along and he's good, but you don't like him. He's like, because he's not your guy, but you don't like him. But he just keep beating people. He keep beating people. Start changing your thought process about fighters like that, because those are usually the ones who are becoming potentially great. Potentially great. Because they just kind of win. They win. Sometimes they knock folks out. Sometimes they get a decision. Sometimes they just be better than anticipated. Things of that nature. Cotto was one of those guys. He was just winning and winning. And it's very unfortunate that he ran into that Margarito situation. But
I'm still mad at that.
Even against a guy like Floyd, when he finally figured out what to do with Floyd, it was late in the fight.
Yeah.
And in a different era, that fight would have got run back.
Yeah.
Because it was good like that.
Yeah.
Roy Jones and Bernard Hopkins was the same thing. By the time the 8th or 9th round came around and Bernard was beginning to figure out what to do, next thing you know, the fight was over. And if that had been a 15-rounder, Bernard might have pulled the victory out in that first fight. So when they fought that second time, you saw how Bernard handled Roy in the second fight. Totally different.
Yeah.
But we need those kind of fights and matchups, and just one go round, it doesn't always do it. You know, you need a second fight to kind of really assess the person who can make adjustments, the person who can overcome or turn things around. That's why that's important to do that and to see that. So just be careful when you're observing these guys. Know what you're looking at.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want the audience to never forget Miguel Cotto's his first two losses, that was all Top Rank's fault. When he was a champ at 147, when he had the WBO championship, they made him come in on fight night at 145 to fight Manny Pacquiao. They made him do that. And that was when Manny Pacquiao was a super A-side. And he ran out of gas in that fight. I mean, he looked real good. He had a 12-pack of abs, but he was not hydrated. And then the Margarito thing happened. Nobody checked the gloves. And I like how no one blamed Miguel Cotto or his camp. They didn't blame him. They blamed somebody else, though. And that was all under the umbrella of Top Rank. So you had Manny Pacquiao, and then you had the Antonio Margarito situation, man. Never forget that. By the time he got the Floyd, he should have been undefeated, y'all. Know that. By the time he got the Floyd, he should have been undefeated. And he showed up against Canelo. Canelo didn't dominate him. That was a very good technical matchup, man. Cotto was in that fight 100%. And Stormy's absolutely right. The Floyd and Cotto fight, Floyd won it, but it was close enough to the point where I wouldn't have minded a rematch. You understand? So I want to do a Cotto tribute. I've been saying I've been doing it. I wanted to do it for a long time, but I'm finally going to do it because those two losses in his career, that really pissed me off, man. That really pissed me off. It really did. because it's just unfair. They tried to kill, bro. What Margarito did to him, and they put listen, y'all. In the first fight, there was a part where they put the camera on Cotto's wife and kids. Absolutely broke my heart, man. When that man was spitting blood out his mouth and his wife was crying and the kids was crying, and when he was back in the locker room and his wife says, yo, we got money, you don't have to do this. And he kissed her on the forehead. He said, this is all I know how to do. I said, God dog it, man. And then you find out that goon cheated. That was attempted murder, man. That goon cheated. Yeah, Aaron, I got you. I've been saying I'm going to do it for a while. I'm going to do it. That goon cheated. Margarito kicked out the sport, and Bob Arum had to go to Mexico and bring him back because he was kicked out of the sport, man. Brought him back just so Manny Pacquiao. Yeah, he should have been. Brought him back so Manny Pacquiao could beat his eye up, and then he ran it back with Miguel. But I'm like, man, come on, bro. It should have never happened. I mean, this sport, and you see, guys, I'm a stickler for that stuff, man. This sport is dangerous as it is. This dude tried to kill Miguel, man. I mean, really, and once they found out what it is, I wouldn't have been shocked if they took it to the streets. I'm being serious. That dude's a cheater. You cannot tell me that he did not know that there was something going on with his gloves. And we didn't find out till he tried to get Shane Mosley like that. That's when we found out, and we put 2 and 2 together. It's ridiculous, man. Blaming the damn victims out here, man. This is stupid. But anyway, Mbilli's report card is directly reflected to Canelo, because for a minute, I was like, Mbilli, he could be on Canelo like a cheap suit because he got old legs, but him not coming in he's going to have to come in with a jab fighting Canelo. Come on, bro. You can't do that. And I'm looking at, like we just talked about, Berlanga's chances are higher because of his corner, right? The coaching, the training, everything, that plays a factor. What the hell is going on in Billy's corner that he hasn't changed in 4 or 5 years? I don't like that.
They've fallen in love with him overpowering guys that he's stronger than, he may be a little faster and punch harder. But remember that Gongora fight was kind of a telltale sign. Gongora was tough too. It's just that, you have some guys, they'll fight to a certain level of competitiveness, and then they don't have anything to go beyond that point. And I saw Gongora, in a couple of fights since then, he hasn't matched that same type of intensity. So maybe there's something that's just not there for him. But guys like Mbilli, and I think the closest example that I gave was Pitbull Cruz. It's like they rely upon you doing something, slipping, making a mistake that they could capitalize on. At some point, you're going to drop your hand. At some point, you're going to stick your chin up in the air. At some point, you're going to have a mental lapse or whatever. And they capitalize and they have success. But the best at the top of the sport don't do those things. They don't have mental lapses. They stay focused. If they know they got a knockout fighter in front of them, they keep their guard up. They keep their hand. I remember when Lennox Lewis was going to fight David Tua. And, everybody in the world knew that Tua had that left hook. You know that Tua never landed that left hook on him at all in the 12 rounds. Lennox kept that damn right hand up all night long and blocked it and blocked it and blocked it and kept Tua at the end of his jab. Lennox never tried to knock Tua out.
No.
Just looked to score and beat him with punches landed,
He hit him once when he was going backwards, but he rolled with it. It looked more dangerous than it was, but it wasn't nothing.
And Tua was the kind of fighter that never went for broke against Lewis either. He never went for broke, which tells me that either he was afraid to get hit by Lennox, or he wasn't in as good a shape as he should have been. And I don't think he was, because if I remember correctly, he came into that fight with Lewis at 245 or 250 or something like
Could have
that.
been lighter. He could have been lighter.
When his best weight was like 225 or something like that.
Yeah, he could have been lighter. You know, the power was there, but he couldn't land nothing. But he also didn't want to overcommit, because I remember leading up to the fight, they were trash talking, and Tua said to him, he said, "Yeah, man, you know, you're tall, but we all the same size. It's like it's boxing. It's like making love. We all the same size in the bedroom." I was like, "All right, bro, whatever." But he came in there he looked a little heavy around the trunk area. He looked like love handles. He had that wild hairstyle. But he got to the point where he was just trying to land that left hook. And Lewis, I mean, you want to talk about ring generalship. Jab, 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 sidestep, jab, jab, sidestep, jab. And Tua didn't want to get hit by that right hand because Lennox could crack. He could crack. And he's punching downward. You know, I mean, styles make fights, man. There was also a style like, for instance, Hasim Rahman. There was something about Hasim's style that Tua couldn't figure out. It was annoying for him to fight him, you know. But yeah, man. Getting back to Christian Mbilli, his report card, you know, being at his 168, I'm pretty much for saying tonight, does he make the case for Canelo? Because if Canelo beats Berlanga, which I hope he does not, Christian Mbilli's a stay busy fight. And like Kano said, you know, you cash him out, because you'd rather lose to Canelo with a couple of million than F around and lose to Pacheco or any one of those guys. You know, Andre in a comeback fight, because then your stock just goes off the rails. And we saw that happen to Jeff Lacey, unfortunately. He was on fire. I remember watching him on Showtime, Stormy. You remember it like it was yesterday. He was knocking everybody out sideways, and he brought the fans out, and people loved him. Man, they sent his ass to the UK to fight Joe Calzaghe, and it was the worst thing you could ever do. It was the worst thing you could ever do. Jeff looked like he never fought a day in his life past round 4. He was turning them and spinning them, and it was just bad. It was just bad business.
I wonder if Lacey was kept up all night with fire alarms in his hotel room, if he received a questionable fruit basket, if his water was compromised.
I would love to ask him.
You know what I'm saying? Because
ask him, yeah.
That, you know, some of these tricks have been around for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, who was it? It might have been, it wasn't, what's his name that's been on here with us? The heavyweight, the one who beat Klitschko.
Oh, Chris Bird's cousin.
Yeah, it wasn't him, but it was somebody talking about fighting Klitschko, and they remember when they got in the ring, you know, like the night before the fight or whatever, you go in the ring.
Peter.
Huh?
You talking about on the show? Because we spoke to Sam Peter behind the scenes.
Yeah, but no, he was Layman Bruce. There you go.
Bruce, yeah,
Layman Bruce. It talked about how soft and spongy the canvas was.
Yeah.
It's like that's another trick to, you know, for punchers, because you could dig in and get good leverage on your shots and everything with a soft canvas. And for guys who like to move on their toes and dance around, spongy canvases are like bad for your legs. It's like that's, you know, there's no give, you know, with those tight canvases, but the spongy ones, it could do a number on your legs. So yeah, that's real, man. That's real. I remember we spoke to Sam. I don't know. We was trying to get Sam Peter on the show, but you know, he's a Christian man and he don't do Sundays. So we might have to do a premiere. But he told us with the Klitschko fight,
he got poisoned the day before. They had to send the fruit basket to his damn hotel room. He was eating from the basket. I think him and his wife got sick. Something like that. It was crazy. Remember when he quit against Vitali? He said, stop the fight. That was in Germany. They poisoned him. So foam mats, you know, and I'm not the one to, you know, y'all know I hate Tyson Fury with a passion. But I remember leading up to their rematch, there was a woman that asked Klitschko about the extra foam on the mat. She was asking about that. It was crazy, man. Of course, the rematch ain't happened, but you know, clown stuff, man. So I would love to ask Jeff Lacy, was there any funny stuff looking back? Did you get a little bubble guts? You know, did you eat something? Did they lose your luggage? Because he got the damn UK, y'all. And if y'all can go watch Jeff Lacy versus Joe Calzaghe right here on YouTube. Watch all the fights leading up to that, and then watch the Joe Calzaghe fight. You thought he forgot how to fight, bro. And then Joe Calzaghe's really good, but I mean, dogs. He ain't win no rounds. I was like, what the hell's going on here? You felt bad at the end. He's in there with the Apollo Creed trunks, and then almost ended up like Apollo Creed. Remember that? You remember that Stormy? He came out there. All he was missing was James Brown, man. I was like, damn. Listen, he beat the crap out of Jeff Lacy, man. I felt really bad. And him and Jeff, they met like years later. And he was talking to Joe. He's like, man, you know, I was thinking that you was gonna get tired because Joe had a high work output. And he was like, man, I'm like round 9, he's not tired. But you know, there's also been rumored, I don't know. They questioned Joe Calzaghe's questionable gas tank. Whatever, man. It's too late now. The man retired undefeated, so I ain't whatever. It is what it is, man. But it's
listen.
Don't
man,
eat nothing.
Like this, and this is for what's his name? Where he at? King W Boxing. Mm-hmm. If Roy Jones can pop dirty, anybody else in the sport of boxing can pop dirty too.
Yeah.
And Roy was one of the most talented, fast, powerful, athletic fighters of this modern era. And we never thought that we would hear that he done some stuff. But the irony is this. When you got the complexion, you get ultimate protection.
That's right.
They'll take it to their graves for guys who didn't make the cut. Just remember that. You have to open your mind and close your mouth sometimes.
Absolutely, bro. So I guess we're all in agreement. I tried to be nice and give a B-, but I guess it's a C-. I don't trust Christian and Mbilli. That's what I was saying, man. I don't trust, after last night, I don't trust Christian and Mbilli to carry the torch at 168. That's all I'm saying. We're being honest. And I'm rooting for the kid, but if we're all things being honest, I just don't see it. What to expect from Canelo? If he beats Berlanga, I think he'll take a stay busy fight with Mbilli. I even think he's so swag with it, he'll go to Canada and beat him in his own turf. And like Cano said, you take that fight. You'd rather lose to Canelo, or at least have a fighting chance, than to F around and lose to Benavidez or Morel or Pacheco. And by the way, the IBF is vacant right now. Let me see something. IBF is vacant. William Skull's ranked number 1. Vladimir Shishkin is number 2, and Christian Mbilli's number 3. You don't do any of that. Look, man. I think he should petition to fight Canelo after Berlanga. I mean, since Canelo's obviously not doing what we want him to do, so you know it is what it is, man. But Stormy, we're gonna close the show. Let them know how they can find you, good brother.
Channel is Stormy B-Man. That's Stormy B-Man, all caps, but no cap.
No Diggity doubt, man. And I think the Queens of the Ring should be on or coming on. Let's go support our sisters. I'll be back talking boxing tomorrow. And then we got Nerds on Culture tomorrow on Stormy B Man's channel. And then we got Painful Excellence Podcast after that. So Mondays is live, man. What we talking about on Nerds tomorrow?
It's called Remember When We Used to.
Yep.
It's like, you know,
when there was no internet, y'all.
Exactly. Growing up without the internet, growing up where you had to be outside. Your parents told you, get out the house.
Get out the house.
Then,
get off that goddamn Atari. Go outside.
And then you better be back in the house when the street lights come on.
And I have it in my hand. I have it in my head what we used to do. I remember what my summer Saturdays used to be like. So don't miss it tomorrow, man. So link is in the chat right there. So we still on the grind, man. Yo, salute to everybody in the Venmo, the Zelle, the Cash App, the Super Chat. I ain't checked anything. Shame on me. Shame on me. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay. We square. Okay, we good. All right, man. Salute to y'all. Let's go support the Queens if they on. We'll see y'all tomorrow, man. Bronx on deck.
Move! Why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
You are gay.